You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a child care center is expanding its services to help meet local demands.
Also, a few fairgoers shared their thoughts on this year's Bushwhacker Days in Nevada.
And we've got some clouds for some of us. It's going to be very hot today, maybe some pop-up storms. We'll look at the details in that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 o'clock on this Friday morning. It is June the 14th, so it's not Friday the 13th, which is good.
Fantastic, even.
Yeah, that is, you don't want to end the week on a Friday the 13th.
No, you don't. You really don't.
You certainly do not. And thankfully, that is not what is going on today. It's going to be a hot one, though.
It is going to be a hot one. And a Pittsburgh child care center is expanding to meet local demand for infants.
KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Sunshine Child Care Learning Center's expansion will add more availability for infants and non-school age children. Workers say the biggest demand is for infant care in their area.
That's where we put our attention to, and that's what this side here was specifically designed for.
There's not very many child care in Girard. There's not much in Pittsburgh. Like people from Arma, things like that, they don't have child care. So it is very nice to have facilities like this, to have a child care and be able to provide it and not have to worry when you're a parent to take your kids somewhere or figure out where they're going to go.
The expansion was more than $300,000 at no cost to the church. An out-of-county grant by an anonymous donor funded the expansion.
It was from a different location. They heard of the project, wanted to know more about the project. 2 phone calls later, they supported the project, and we had funds, and off we were running.
The child care waitlist already has more than 42 families willing to pay $179 weekly for preschool and child care. The child does not have to attend Victory Life's church to be a part of the child care center.
The wait list is a first come, first serve. By the time we get to some of those, they've already found child care, whether it be a family member or an in-home service. And we understand that, but it's a first come, first serve. We have a wait list, and we just take them in the order that they call.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
For more information about Sunshine Child Care Learning Center, you can go to our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com.
Of course, something we've covered in detail over the last couple of years is the child care crisis that's out there. There's not enough facilities with enough spaces for those folks who need that.
Especially during summertime, too.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. Back when I was growing up, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. That was a doable thing in the 80s and 90s. These days, both parents really need to be working, and even double the problem if you're a single parent. So it's becoming more essential for childcare where, 20 years ago, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Absolutely.
Well, let's take a look outside with our camera on top of the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. And you can see we've got some clouds out there, but off to the north and west, that was a wasp. Okay, don't build a nest up there, bud. You're not going to like it. We've got some clearing skies off to the north and west, and we'll continue to see that. We'll go partly cloudy heading today. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line also looking pretty good out there. The clouds have helped keep temperatures reasonable in the eastern portion of our area, but out west it's not been a very cool start to the day. Heading into the afternoon, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, and you see those little green splotches. We've talked about that. Those are the Future Track's best interpretation, saying that we could see some pop-up showers or thunderstorms later today. So again, remember, the issue with pop-up storms is there's not a system triggering them, like a cold front, a dry line, something along those lines. It's just being triggered by daytime heating. And so it makes it harder for the Future Track to kind of pick up on those specifically. But it is going to be a possibility as we head into the afternoon. Here's those temperatures I was talking about. You can tell where the rain fell. Still some 60s in Monette, Cassville, and even in Stockton, 67. And then where the cloud cover's been, we've got low 70s, but where we did not see rain, still mid-upper 70s out there. We've had some heat index values, but those have come down. Now we kind of technically have little wind chills out there, but that will not last very long. Partly cloudy skies again heading into the afternoon. Maybe some pop-up showers or storms. Nothing severe expected. Highs today, low 90s. Heat index values approaching 100. So make sure you're staying hydrated and limiting your time outdoors. Well, now look at your forecast. Talk about how hot it's going to get and if there's any more rain on the way here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. A federal judge yesterday sentenced a Galena, Kansas man who shot at police during a high-speed chase from Joplin into Kansas. 36-year-old Adam Kassler pled guilty to being a felon in possession of a firearm. It stems from a February 2023 incident where he led Joplin police on a chase that crossed the Kansas border. During that chase, authorities say he fired the gun at officers. He is sentenced to 13 years and 6 months in federal prison. Mercy Hospital announces a partnership with Joplin area Catholic schools to provide a tuition assistance program for its co-workers. The tuition program extends to 3 Joplin area Catholic schools. They say the partnership opportunity provides full-time Mercy Joplin, Mercy Carthage, Mercy Columbus, Mercy Clinics, and Mercy Galena co-workers with access to affordable Catholic education for their children. Well, the 60th annual Bushwhacker Days kicked off yesterday in Nevada, Missouri. It features food, fun, and live music. We sent KOAM photojournalist Friends Wallace there to check it all out.
There we go. Look up, boys.
The zipper was really scary.
Why?
Because it never stopped moving, and you're just always spinning, and I'm still shaking.
Spinning around.
Is it fast or is it slow?
It's slower, but I love being it slower. The airplane, the horse, that one.
And out of the airplane and the horses, which one was your favorite so far?
The airplane.
Why?
It go up in the air.
Bushwhacker Days continues through Saturday with other events, including a baby contest, scavenger hunt, and a parade. Well, coming up, ceasefire talks continue in the Middle East as the offensive in Rafah ramps up. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the Battle of Carthage State Historic Site ahead of the Civil War reenactment this weekend. Topping Nation Watch this morning, the FBI warns of Mexican cartel scams targeting American timeshare owners. They say part-time property owners are being persuaded to pay large sums of cash under the impression that it's going toward their timeshare property. The agency says the scammers do research on their victims to create fake documents that look like they are coming from a trustworthy institution. The FBI says scammers have been using a combination of sales tactics and cyber-enabled fraud strategies. A brawl in Italy's parliament apparently led to the injury of one lawmaker. A fight broke out on Wednesday after a lawmaker tried to hand an Italian flag to another far-right parliament member. The incident happened during a discussion on the controversial government bill concerning local autonomies. Parliamentary clerks stepped in to stop the lawmaker with the flag, but chaos quickly followed. Another parliament member threw punches at a man holding the flag who eventually fell. He was taken out of the chamber in a wheelchair. Israeli tanks are advancing deeper into the Gazan city of Rafah. The move comes as Hezbollah terrorists fire additional rockets from Lebanon into northern Israel. Fox News correspondent Trey Inks has the latest from Tel Aviv.
Tensions along the Israel-Lebanon border are boiling. Hezbollah retaliating with its single largest rocket barrage in a day after Israel killed a top Hezbollah commander this week. Hundreds of rockets, along with dozens of attack drones, were launched from southern Lebanon as the Iran-backed group vows to escalate the ongoing conflict.
We will increase our operations in intensity, force, quantity, and quality, and let him wait for us in the field.
Israeli airstrikes have pummeled southern Lebanon in recent days, going after Hezbollah strongholds and rocket launching positions. Efforts are ongoing to reach an understanding with Hezbollah to avoid the situation unraveling into a larger war, but time is running out.
Whether through diplomatic efforts or otherwise, Israel will restore security on our northern border. Israel will respond with force to all aggressions by Hezbollah.
Reports indicate that American officials are urging the Israelis to use restraint and not escalate the ongoing conflict, although with fires raging across northern Israel and no end in sight for the war in Gaza, Israeli officials could launch a larger offensive action without the blessing of their U.S. allies.
You see the conflict in the north of Israel continue to reach concerning levels, and we want to tackle all of those issues, and the best way to do that is through a ceasefire.
With major developments in the north, Israeli forces continue to operate on the southern front in Gaza. Those soldiers are getting closer to the main humanitarian zone, but aren't striking it. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
And those are our top stories in Nation Watch. Let's check in with Chris for a look at the forecast.
It's going to be a hot one today. The sun's starting to shine down in Neosho, where you had some cloud cover helping to keep you a little cooler. We're all going to start to heat up later today. We'll have another full look at your forecast here in just a moment. And a little later, a Hawaii man steps up when he finds a dog that fell more than 20 feet into a lava tube. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 7:15. We are about to be 7:16 on this Friday morning. It's like I can see the future, when in reality I just have a clock with the exact second on it right in front of me. Clouds beginning to clear from our camera on the Cornell Complex downtown Joplin. It is still blocking some of that sunlight out there, but it won't block it for much longer. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line again. It's looking off to the northwest, and you can see clear skies out there. And the MoDOT camera down in Neosho, a little more sunshine now as the clouds begin to thin out down south as well. And that's going to continue to be the case. We'll be mostly clear to partly cloudy as we head through the day. We do have that opportunity again for some pop-up storms out there. So that's what the future track is at least trying to show us with those little green splotches that show up. Most of us should remain dry, but a stray shower or storm is possible. The good news is nothing severe expected. We'll be partly cloudy overnight, then early tomorrow morning, some showers here and there, maybe even a thunderstorm or two in parts of southeastern Kansas. Saturday, we'll have that same opportunity for maybe a pop-up storm or two through the day. And then later in the evening, especially out here, I'm going to highlight this zone. Fort Scott, Nevada, Lamar, Stockton, Monette, Cassville. Could see a few additional showers and thunderstorms. Again, nothing severe expected, and anything we do see will be short-lived, but nonetheless, a couple of showers possible. Now leave us a bit on the mostly cloudy side overnight Sunday, but then we'll go back to partly cloudy skies and very hot conditions on our Sunday. Our UV index today is at a 7. It's still high, 30-minute burn time for unprotected skin, so make sure you are taking precautions if you've got to be outdoors working or whatever may lead you to simply have to be outdoors. Additionally, you need to stay hydrated. This is our heat risk. This is just talking about the potential of very high temperatures or very high heat index values. We're looking at heat index values around 100 today, and that'll be again the case tomorrow on our Saturday, but you see the majors starting to show up. That's that zone of heat index values of 100 to 105. By Sunday, that is overspreading a good portion of the area, and then take a look. This I think is actually even updated since this morning. You see the purple, the extreme, starting to show up a bit more. We're talking heat index values there that could be in excess of 105 degrees. That's what this map is showing us, and that heat continues as we head into next week. So some quick reminders on ways you need to stay safe. One, with your pets, take them out on early morning walks and make sure they are indoors when you're not home or wherever the case may be. You need to make sure they're staying cool. Keep your kids hydrated. Water, Pedialyte Pops, a great way to do that. If you do have to work outside, make sure you're finding shade, you're staying hydrated, drink plenty of water, and of course make sure you check on the elderly, because like children, they are very susceptible to this kind of heat. Quick look at temperatures before we run out of time here. 72 in Joplin, south breeze at 7. And around the area, again, we're beginning to progressively warm up. Where we saw the rain, temperatures still cooler, upper 60s. But out to the west, we're still sitting in the mid to upper 70s across the area. Our highs today going low to mid 90s. Heat index values approaching 100. They'll continue to climb as we head into the weekend, staying hot through Tuesday. Maybe some isolated showers Wednesday, and heating back up at the end of next week. That's a check your forecast. We're back with more right after this. Well, a young dog was stuck at the bottom of a deep and narrow lava tube for hours, but one heroic man came to save the day.
Fox's Jen Boneza shares the daring rescue.
This is Misty. The 9-month-old Catahoula hunting dog fell nearly 25 feet down this narrow volcanic crack around 8 a.m. Saturday morning.
We were trying to figure out a way to get in there, for at least maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. We could only fit half of our bodies, and then other than that, it was we wouldn't be able to make it.
That's when they called this man, 60-year-old Kavika Singson.
We're going down after Misty. Misty is about 9 months old. She's somewhere down this crack.
The Carpenter Ironman competitor and former military combat engineer has been rescuing dogs on Hawaii Island since 2019 from some pretty hairy situations.
Give me a second. Okay. Yep. Just slippery on here.
Singson says he is very careful and uses safety gear.
I'm very aware of my situation, situational awareness, I like to call it, and aware of their environments and the hazards, of course, but everything comes with a risk, but the reward to me is worth the risk of going after this poor dog.
He squeezes into the narrow crevice, slowly making his way down.
Hey, Misty.
Finally reaching Misty.
Okay, Misty. Let's hook you up.
After a half an hour of trying, they finally pull her out of the old lava tube to safety.
Oh, stay here. Got her?
Yep, good girl.
Awesome.
Misty isn't the first dog he's rescued. She's the 6th.
I'm 6'6" on these dogs that I go after that no one can or willing to go after. So I'm very proud of that. And, main thing to get the dog back to the owner. That's my main priority.
He says he films his rescues to raise awareness, urging dog owners to put a GPS tracker on their pet just in case.
It's a small investment, but it's worth it if you love your animals.
It's certainly incredible. I was just talking, my claustrophobia would not allow me into that space.
I know.
That's a big risk just to him to get down there.
Absolutely,
because he could get stuck just as easily.
He could get stuck, but it's great to see that he has a passion for it too, helping people get their dogs back. And, not a lot of people can do that. So it's great
and
that
he's
stepping
6 for 6
up.
on rescuing these dogs as well. So
Hopefully
that's impressive.
he's 6 for 6 for a while. And
Hopefully no more
get
get down in there. So.
Yes. Well, coming up, Freeman Healthcare announces plans for a clinic in Fort Scott. We'll have those details.
And it's going to be another hot one today, and we could see a pop-up storm or two. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOA Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:27. I'm Elise Snowy. Carthage authorities are investigating the discovery of a body in a camper trailer. The discovery was made yesterday just before noon on private property on the 600 block of North Main. Authorities closed down North Main and wrapped the investigation seen in police tape. Carthage police are looking into the possibility the woman was transported from somewhere else.
So we're looking into the possibility that the possible crime could have occurred somewhere else, and the trailer just got transported to Carthage.
I see. Can you tell us any other location maybe where it was transported from?
The 2 locations I've heard possibly was near the Kansas City area or possibly Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Carthage police have asked the public to avoid this area for the time being. No word yet on the identity of the person who was found dead. Well, a traffic stop for the Pittsburgh Police Department turns into a car chase and narcotics bust. It happened around 9:30 Wednesday night. Officers with assistance of a K-9 unit stopped a vehicle for traffic violations. Police detained 2 of the occupants, Jermaine Justin Oliver and Tyreek Tutwiler. Police say the other occupant, William Tyrone Andre Phillips, drove away, nearly striking the officers. They caught Phillips after he abandoned the vehicle. Officers found a number of suspected counterfeit fentanyl pills and a handgun. It turns out Oliver and Tutwiler had warrants out for their arrest. Authorities arrested all 3 on multiple charges. Authorities say all the people living in a Joplin apartment house escaped unharmed from a fire there. The fire broke out yesterday morning at a building at 2nd and South Pearl near the downtown area. It was an older house that had been separated into apartments. Authorities say all the people escaped, but several cats died. Investigators say the fire was accidental and it started in the kitchen of one apartment, then spread through the attic. Well, drivers on US 69 in Cherokee County should be aware of some road work. KDOT began resurfacing a project this week, starting at US 400 on 69 and continuing south for about 18 miles to the roundabout at K66. Flaggers and a pilot car are guiding one-lane traffic through the work zone during daylight hours. Can expect delays of up to 15 minutes. They say weather permitting, the road work should be finished by mid-September. Now let's check in with Chris for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we're taking a live look from MoDOT camera, 32nd and Range Line in Joplin. Now it's pointed back to the northwest, and you can see those clear skies out there. Joplin and some of our eastern counties were fortunate to have some cloud cover this morning, kept things a little cooler than our friends out to the west, but all of us will be heating up as we head into the afternoon. We'll have partly cloudy skies and those little green splotches as we've talked about. It's the Future Track's way of telling us that there's an opportunity for a pop-up shower or storm. Nothing severe, and most of us will remain dry as we head through today. Again, you can tell where the rain actually fell. Again, far eastern counties, Stockton, Monette, Cassville, still the cool spots out there. We've got low 70s where that cloud blanket was, and then out to the west, we've been in the mid to upper 70s all morning long. Heat index values thankfully have dropped. In fact, we technically have some slight wind chills in some locations, but like a degree or two. But we're all going to have heat index values approaching 100 degrees today. So again, no heat advisories in place at this point. Wouldn't be surprised if they're not issued later today. I wouldn't be surprised if they're issued for the weekend, as heat index values could exceed 100 degrees this weekend. Again, mostly clear to start, partly cloudy skies into the afternoon, and again, maybe an isolated pop-up shower or storm up there. Otherwise hot, low 90s, and a reminder, those heat index values approaching 100, so make sure you're taking precautions and staying hydrated. It's going to continue to heat up as we head into the weekend, and our heat risk factor also increases. We'll take a look at all that in detail in the full forecast here in a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Well, Freeman Health is taking over the emergency room in Fort Scott. The news comes years after hospitals have struggled to open and stay open in the area. In 2018, Mercy announced it would close in the face of declining patient numbers and shrinking reimbursement. In 2022, Noble Health had plans to reopen the hospital, but those plans fell through. Then Essentia Via Christi stepped in only to end its ER operations in 2023. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more on the announcement from Freeman.
We are here this morning to announce our upcoming presence right here in Fort Scott and in Bourbon County.
After years of not knowing whether or not Fort Scott would ever get an established medical facility, residents now have an answer.
Are so thrilled to have the Freeman family join us here and help us. We do not now have to rely on our EMTs, who are wonderful, to get us somewhere. And now we can have quicker, faster care to a higher level hospital if needed.
As it stands right now, this facility is really nothing more than a barren wasteland. But with Freeman taking over, not only will the emergency room be reopened, they'll also provide 10 inpatient hospital beds with many more services to come.
Absolutely be open to further development. We want to get the emergency room up and running. We want to get the 10 beds at the hospital open, but then absolutely we want to really look at the whole blueprint for services, and it will expand far beyond what we're announcing today.
Some who attended the announcement welcome Freeman with open arms.
A great answer we have here is a great day in Fort Scott. This is a fantastic announcement. This is a benefit to Bourbon County and the citizens of Fort Scott. And it's life-saving and life-supporting.
The truth still remains that Fort Scott has struggled to keep a hold of a medical facility. But with this announcement from Freeman, there may be hope for the future. In Fort Scott, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Freeman CEO Paula Baker says Freeman's presence will not be fully established until April of next year, but she says Freeman plans to move forward as quickly as possible. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Shannon Becker joins us with his big 3 stories of the week. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the Battle of Carthage State Historic Site ahead of the Civil War reenactment this weekend. Well, welcome back. We've got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. Happy to have you here, Shannon. Good morning to you.
It's Flag Day today.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Go out,
Get
fly
your
your
flags.
flag. My flag's
Very
outside.
patriotic looking
I
this
didn't
morning.
do it on purpose, but no, maybe I did. Let's take a look at the big 3 live and local stories. What's happening where you live. Yesterday, Carthage, Missouri. Breaking news. We were there as they were actually wrapping crime scene tape around an area. That is a camper RV where a body was located inside. They haven't released many details yet, but they believe the body was transported there in that camper earlier in the morning. It's an isolated piece of land along Spring River north of Butterball on North Main Street. We'll have more details as this developing story continues. I know the KBI were there yesterday, and they obtained search warrants last night. Our number 2 story, Joplin News First, live and local, just outside of Carl Junction, south of Carl Junction. That sight makes you cry, doesn't it? A 55 Chevy Bel Air rear-ended at highway speeds. Now, nobody was injured, but this, like I said, this hurts my heart to see something like this. That car, lasted like almost 80 years.
The history just smashed.
Boom, by a Toyota Tacoma. Took care of that. Actually, this car has been in a lot of car shows around the area, so I don't know if they're going to try and repair it or what. Our number 1 story, watch out for the high waters. 7 inches of rain, wow, in Stockton, Missouri overnight. And here near Conway, Missouri, a horse and buggy off the road into floodwaters. There were 6 people in the buggy, including an infant and kids and adults. Oh, nobody was injured, and the horse even got out.
That's amazing, actually. It really is.
No, I'm like...
Yeah.
There's just so many things, you think, of course, don't drive into it in your car.
But what about a horse?
Yeah, your horse and buggy. Yeah, don't do that
not.
either. And our bonus story of the week, live and local, this week, well, don't fawn around with the fawns. I don't know, that's not very witty, is it?
Don't fawn around.
Don't fawn around with the fawns. So leave a fawn alone, experts say.
Yes.
This fawn was dropped off the other day at the Shoal Creek Education and Conservation Center. And experts say leave it alone. The mother leaves the fawn in the grass. It blends in and everything, and she comes back and takes care of it later. So don't pick it up. Don't think, oh my gosh, it's been abandoned.
I can't even imagine going to pick up a little baby deer and going to swaddle it up
and then take it somewhere.
And take it somewhere and drop it off a doorstep.
What are they going to do with it?
I couldn't imagine doing that.
I don't know. Maybe they have fawn milk there. No, deer milk. They don't. So don't do it. Leave it alone. That's what the Missouri Department of Conservation says, as well as Wildcat Glades. More details in that bonus story on our website.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you so much again for being with us on this Friday morning. As always, you're the best.
Oh, you're too kind.
And we'll stick around. We'll be right back with more of the KOAM Morning News after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 7:42 now on this Friday morning, and we're going to take a look. We're going to start with the future track. So as we head into the afternoon, we're going to start to go partly cloudy, and again, those little green splotches that are going to show up here and there, that's the future track's way of saying that a pop-up shower or storm will be possible. Most of us will be dry, but a stray shower or storm will be possible out there today. Otherwise, again, partly cloudy and hot. Partly cloudy overnight, and then toward tomorrow morning, we could see some isolated showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms out there, and then we'll have that opportunity for some pop-up showers and storms throughout the afternoon on our Saturday. Again, most of us dry, and then by the evening we could see some additional slightly more organized shower and thunderstorm activity, especially in the eastern portion of our area. No severe weather expected from any of this, but at least some of us might see some rain. That'll leave us mostly cloudy overnight into Sunday, and then by the time we head into Sunday afternoon, we're back to partly cloudy and straight up hot conditions. A reminder, our UV index today a little lower at a 7, so that puts burn time at 30 minutes for unprotected skin. So do make sure you're still taking precautions out there and making sure you're keeping yourself safe. You also want to stay hydrated because we have that moderate heat risk. So that's just saying this is basically temperature, either heat index or air temperature. Because again, in the desert Southwest, they don't really deal with the humidity like we do. But moderate is indicating we could see those heat index values up to about 100. And that's what we're looking at even as we head into our Saturday, but we're starting to see some of that major sneak in. Sunday, though, major heat risk potential across almost the entire area, which is indicating those heat index values 100, maybe 105 out there. And then take a look at Monday. Again, this updated this morning. This is the extreme category starting to sneak in to various parts of our area. That's talking heat index values greater than 105. So we again don't have any heat advisories out there at this point. Wouldn't be surprised though if that either changed later today or first thing tomorrow morning. And we'll hold on to that heat risk as we head into next week. It does lessen up a bit on Wednesday because we're looking to be a little cloudier, maybe a few scattered showers, a couple of thunderstorms out there, but it'll begin to return as we head toward the end of next week. So a quick reminder on some tips on how to keep yourself and your pets and your kids and everyone safe. Make sure you're doing early morning walks and then keep your pets indoors. I know a lot of folks, their dogs, they love to be outside during the day, but with this heat, you want to keep them inside. Keep your kids hydrated, water, Pedialyte pops. Keep yourself hydrated and find shade if you've got to work outside. And again, check on the elderly because like kids, they are susceptible to this kind of heat. Again, today our highs are going to go into the low to mid 90s with those heat index values approaching 100. Those will heat up as we head into the weekend and the start of next week. Got those scattered showers on Wednesday and a brief break from the heat, and then it returns to close out next week back into the low to mid 90s. That's Check Your Forecast. Now we're going to send it over to Elise with Consumer Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. A proposed settlement over credit card merchant fees may end up being rejected. A Wall Street Journal report says a U.S. federal judge in Brooklyn, New York, may refuse a proposed settlement over a case that alleges Visa and MasterCard price fix their swipe fees charged to merchants when customers use their credit cards and therefore restrict fair card competition. Visa and MasterCard have offered at $30 billion settlement. A rejection would mean a trial goes forward and possibly a better deal for merchants. Well, mortgage rates eased again this year. Still, the average rate on a 30-year home loan is close to 7%, where it's been much of this year. This week's rates falling to 6.95%, according to mortgage buyer Freddie Mac. A year ago, the rate averaged 6.69%. Your dad may have been the first to show you how to swing a hammer or use other tools. And according to new data by Realtor.com released ahead of Father's Day, many Americans continue leaning on their fathers well into adulthood, especially as the kids become homeowners. When it comes to home maintenance or repairs, nearly 40% turn to their dad for advice. Proximity bumping the numbers of folks who ask dad for help with home repairs or moving to over 40% when they live nearby. And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. One 85-year-old Pennsylvania woman is keeping her head in the clouds with no sign of stopping. Kim Emmons-Noor is a skydiver traveling around the U.S.
With well over 600 jumps already under her belt, she's aiming for an even loftier goal. But Bo Coltnow spoke with the skydiver about her decades-long career.
Free falling is a lifelong pursuit for 85-year-old Kim Emmons-Noor.
Yes, that was wonderful.
And at the Pegasus Skydiving Center in Monroe County, she landed her 671st jump.
It was really, really fun. I just love to be in the sky.
And floating through it.
Aside from surviving it,
Yeah.
just what makes an enjoyable parachute jump?
I think to jump with friends.
Kim, sponsored by the International Skydiving Museum and Hall of Fame. which she was inducted into in 2013.
This is it. This is what you're traveling
What I
around
travel around in, yeah.
Is touring the country in the RV, making jumps at places like Pegasus to gain the coveted gold wings for 1,000 lifetime jumps. Her first, January 1959 over Chicago.
The first jump, I took down a lot of power lines.
You did yourself?
No, I got over the power lines, but my chute brought the power lines down.
She quickly found her wings, grabbing headlines and dropping to the top of her class.
The gold medal for the World Championship in 1962.
At the same time, meeting husband, a fellow jumper and Yugoslavian defector during the Cold War.
It was such a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you
I'm
so
so
much.
glad I was here to watch you.
Becoming an inspiration along the way, especially for Bethlehem Zion Yada, who just landed her first jump.
Hearing her story was such a motivation. You know, I was like, you know what, this is my first time.
Yes. Oh,
and I hope it's one of many.
And as Kim climbs to her goal, she leaves us with a message that lands.
We have a lot of responsibilities with life, and we're always looking for a release to go have fun. I mean, that's all part of living, is the fun.
Well, Nora didn't say what's next after she gets her gold wings, but it's likely that she'll keep on soaring.
Well, good for her. Like I said,
Could
you
never
can't
be
get
me.
me in a plane,
Nope.
let alone to jump out of a plane.
Not even in a plane, Chris?
I've never been in a plane. I've never even just walked on one to look at it.
I can't compute that right now.
Yeah, and you could not get me to jump out of one if you ever even got me in one to start with. That just seems backwards.
I know what we should do for next week's morning show. We'll get Chris to jump out of a plane.
Absolutely not. No way. Thank you very much. Well, you may, I don't know. There's no good analogy there, but it's going to be hot. Let's just do that. It's going to get hot today. Future track, we're looking at partly cloudy skies as we end the afternoon. And again, those green splotches are the future track's attempt to tell us that we could see a couple of pop-up showers or storms into the afternoon. Most of us will remain dry. Could see some showers tomorrow morning, maybe even a couple of thunderstorms. And then we'll have an opportunity for some pop-up showers throughout the day Saturday. But again, most of us just hot and dry. And then by late evening Saturday, could see a few more slightly organized showers and storms. These will be confined mainly to our eastern and some of our northern counties out there. They'll be short-lived, and we're not anticipating anything severe, and then we'll be hot again as we head into our Sunday afternoon. Quick reminder, our UV index today is a 7. Still, burn time is 30 minutes for unprotected skin, so make sure you're still taking those precautions. Also, make sure you are staying hydrated. Heat index values today into the about 100-degree range, and that's going to begin to increase as we head into the weekend. Take a look. This is the major heat risk for Sunday. So heat index values 100, 105. By Monday, the extreme is heat index values that could exceed 105 degrees. So please make sure you're taking precautions, staying hydrated, checking on pets, elderly, and your children. We're going to have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Freeman Health System announced it will establish a presence in the city of Fort Scott, Kansas. Freeman hopes to be fully established in Fort Scott by April 1st of next year. Freeman expects to take over management of the current emergency facility as well as establish 10 inpatient hospital beds. Carthage authorities are investigating the discovery of a body in a camper trailer. The discovery was made yesterday just before noon on private property on the 600 block of North Main. The public is asked to avoid this area for the time being. No word yet on the identity of the person who was found dead. And drivers on US 69 in Cherokee County should be aware of some road work. KDOT will be resurfacing from US 400 to the roundabout at K66. Expect delays of up to 15 minutes. Weather permitting, the road work should be finished by mid-September.
We've got a hot one out there. Low 90s for our highs. Heat index values approaching 100. Partly cloudy skies. Could see an isolated pop-up storm or two. Again, most of us will remain dry. Partly cloudy through the evening and overnight, falling back into the low 70s. Some pop-up showers and storms possible tomorrow. Maybe a few more organized storms in our eastern counties tomorrow evening and into the late night hours. And we'll stay hot otherwise through the weekend. Heat index values could exceed 100 Sunday, Monday, and possibly into Tuesday. A little cooler Wednesday. Some scattered showers, and then heating back up to close out next week.
Oof, it's definitely going to be hot.
It certainly is.
Certainly is. Well, an extremely rare occurrence, a white buffalo calf has been born in the Yellowstone National Park. The birth of the white buffalo is sacred in Native American culture, specifically for the Lakota people.
The calf's existence fulfills a Lakota prophecy that better times are near, but its birth is also a warning that there's not enough being done to protect the earth and its animals. The spiritual leader of the Lakota people compared his people's view on the calf's birth to the second coming of Jesus Christ. So certainly a very rare, unique buffalo, and hopefully part of that is right, that better times are near.
Absolutely.
We could certainly use a break out there. So
definitely.
Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We will be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.